Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't know what to exactly talk about, or at least how to aim this sort of situation of a video, but when it comes down to it though, I'm just gonna go about it and wing it the best way I can. Yes, I know it's late as hell, it's not my dang fault, but you be damned to think I'm about to be turning into like the disappearing mannequin from Digital Circus, and then not give you any type of content to look forward to. Like, that's just cap, even though, I ain't gonna lie, disappearing mannequin was like the best thing in that whole episode. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It was great overall, and Evil Pomni, because yeah, I ain't gonna lie too. I'd F the shit out of Evil Pomni. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I feel like that's a given at this point. I feel like that's an absolute given. But when it comes down to it though, there is a whole moment that I wanted to talk about within that Genshin quest that we was, discussing yesterday. And there was a moment where Citlali got, pretty jealous at the Traveler because they held the hand of another woman and all that sort of stuff. And for whatever reason, as per usual, like clockwork, anything regarding Citlali whatsoever, literally a lot of people explode in absolute rage, explode in the nonsensical stuff that you really wouldn't need people to explode over, right? It's like, and it's crazy, every single time there's a potential straight moment that ends up happening, it's like, I can't believe this, I need to pour bleach down my eye sockets because how dare you show me something straight in the big 25. But at the end of the day, it's the most non-issue thing. Like, this is nothing new that we talked about before. I believe we talked about this sort of situation like in the past, but it's just really dumb that it's still a thing, that this is still a whole ass thing, that yes, a straight relationship is a possible thing for the Traveler if you're playing Ether and Citlali. It is an actual thing that could be the case, and yet for whatever reason it's unbearable for a lot of people. Now obviously there's a lot of people now too that also is seeing this stuff too and just like, yeah, I don't really understand what the beef is here. I don't really get it. Why are people freaking out with when it comes down to what Citlali wants? If she wants Ethers and meat, she wants Ethers and meat. That's just ultimately how it is. She's still the same character. She just got that simpish side. That's really all it is. And to keep it very much frank, and to keep it very much, I don't even know what I was saying there. To keep it very much a stack with you, let's just be real. If this was literally any other situation with any other character, they would lose their damn minds in like the way they usually typically would. Like, as we kind of seen with things like Durin and Wanderer and Venti and Dahlia and just anything of the sort like that, usually it's always received as with like a most positive uplifting beat, right? They usually be on the switch up type timing very quickly because it's not a regular straight relationship or whatever. And I don't get this. I don't get this mentality whatsoever. It's a straight relationship, big effing deal. It's a gay relationship, big effing deal. I still to this day do not understand why is one thing more important than another thing, and why is one thing getting canceled out of existence versus another thing that also people don't really sit here and care about to that hard extent. Again, if that's what you do and that's what you like, that's what you do, and that's what you like at the end of the damn day. But still, I just find it very much annoying when somebody could easily say, hey, Citlali's just kind of being jealous there. That's really adorable, right? But then you get people to come through and just be like, no, it's not adorable at all. It is the most absolute bitch-made shit I ever seen in this entire existence. And it's just like, but what the hell are you talking about? What the hell is that, right? And it just doesn't make any type of sense. Again, this is nothing new for Citlali whatsoever, but it's just a weird thing that this is just a constant thing, right? Because let's just be real for 5 seconds. Just look at the whole industry. It took away anything you really hate. First of all, you really hate anything that is straight or is like old ways of anything, and people shit on that for whatever reason, even though it's fine for people to be straight and like each other, right? It just is what it is. And then at the very same time, you get people that also hate things that are mad sexy and mad, appealing for a certain group of people, and they just get mad off that too. And it's just like, can we win? Can we absolutely win? And then you wonder why things like A Still Blade does so damn well. Because we've been starved to death. We've been starved to death, bro. Right? Because of all these changes of how society thinks and how they act and all this sort of stuff. The one thing has remained constant is that there is still an audience out for a lot of these other things that people these days will call problematic, quote unquote, and that doesn't make any sense. So yes, a game like Blade would do very well and become one of those once in a generation type games like a Nier Automata, and that's why you constantly see, you know, 2B and Eve like right there by each other, big booty ass androids, which I am here for, and that's why you get characters like a Citlali to exist, because to keep it very much stacked, yes, you will probably see elements of characters being hella flirty with the main character in these gacha games, and you know, can very much feel like there's a lean towards one direction and another direction, whether it's gay or straight or whatever, but ultimately it's still not necessarily that big of a deal to kind of just be freaking out that hard for. Plus, if we're going to keep it very much a stack, you do realize in canon when it comes to Citlali, you know, she's old as hell, right? She's very much an old dime piece. And when it comes down to it, other people just, you know, often die when they're near her, or at least die just all the time, and that's just how regular humans kind of just be, and she outlives them all. So of course, if you find someone that actually, you know, is pretty much living somewhat long as you, yeah, I'd pretty much would just be ready to be on the meat of that too, right? Or just ready to eat the ass of the chick that's like that, right? Because why the hell not? Because at the end of the day, you ain't gonna find anybody that's gonna, I guess, live the same range as you when it comes down to it, right? Because what else? You just let people, you get married to somebody and then go through an unbelievably tough heartbreak because they passed away of old age, and then you start over again? Like, that's a little, I don't know if I would like that. I don't know if I would appreciate something like that, right? That's just how it is. That's just from my perspective, at least. If I'm Citlali, yeah, I'm about to dive into some traveler meat. That's just how it is for me. So yeah, overall, again, we've been through this sword and sort of song and dance before, and to keep very much stacked, it's the same nonsense as before, but it just baffled me every single time when people be like, yeah, I hate Citlali now because she's, you know, showing this straightness, and all this sort of nonsense. But it's like, come on, dude, like, it's not that big of a effing deal. Also, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, Citlali is a nag fest, sure, but if she offered to ass, I'm diving in them granny cheeks. It is what it is at this point, right? She can nag me to death as long as I get some ass at the end. that's just how it is, right? So really, no reason to be hating on Citlali for no reason whatsoever. She about naggy as hell, but also bad as hell too. Also, she gave us our house keys, so you know, we already know what that could be implying if this game was literally, you know, rated for a different rating and literally was, you know, produced elsewhere potentially, right? Let's just keep it very much a sec. She gave us her house keys. We can clap Citlali anytime we effing feel like it. I feel like that's just how it is. Whether she's sober or drunk, it doesn't matter. But when it comes down to it though, I guess that's really all I want to say for this one. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have other things to discuss, right? As well as just getting done with other stuff too, right? Because there's just so much to do now. But when it comes down to it though, that's really all I guess I really have to say for this one. Just to kind of reiterate some old points, but hopefully you still did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also on my socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's my boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.